Hi, I'm Dr. Militiarix, and today we're going to talk about fear. Fear is one of the very basic instincts we have as human beings, and it's not bad, it's actually very useful. Fear lets us know that something is threatening to us, and we have to avoid it, or we have to get out of its way, or we have to do something about it. So, fear is good. It keeps us out of danger, it makes us survive. It's one of the survival mechanisms of all biological creatures. The only thing with fear that humans have that other biological creatures don't is fear in time, which is called stress. Because we can imagine the same situation lasting for a long time. And we imagine fears and we imagine scenarios that are threatening to us, and we keep them in our minds. And in the next video, I'm going to go into the mind labyrinths that make this fear go on and become stress, because we have like tapes playing on our head doing the same thing. And we do that because there is, for most of the fears, especially the imagined fears, there is no actual outlet. There is no resolution. For a biological fear, there is. It's an immediate threat that's coming our way, like a truck coming our way in the street. That's an immediate threat, and we just get out of the way and the threat is over. If we don't get out of the way, the threat is over anyway, because we're going to be hit by the truck. But if we can manage to survive, then that fear is finished, and we get all the adrenaline and we talk about it and it's gone. But the mental fear isn't. And that's where we get entangled in our mental labyrinths. So in this video, I'm going to show you a very easy exercise to deal with fear, especially these kind of imaginary fears that we have, like phobias and things that we're imagining that are going to happen in the future that are not happening right now. Something that's happening right now is an immediate threat, a biological response comes along, your body excretes all the adrenaline, and that's to give your muscles the capacity to fight or flight. And that's a very useful mechanism. So that we're going to leave completely alone, because that's part of our biology and part of being human and part of our survival mechanisms. We're going to deal only with the mental fear, with the mental labyrinths, with all these ideas we have about the future. And our capacity to visualize the future is incredibly useful if we do it to create new things. We wouldn't be as a humanity where we are if we were unable to imagine different scenarios, which we can. But when we imagine all these negative scenarios full of fear, then we become stressed. So for fear, I made one of these because this is a very useful tool for everything that you're fearful of. And this exercise is basically for fear. First, you have to let yourself feel the fear. You have to put it in your body somewhere and know how it feels, and let yourself feel it. Then decide if it's a biological fear, if it's an immediate threat, or if it's a mental fear. Once you know it's a mental fear, if it's a biological threat, please get out of the way of the danger or defend yourself. But if it's a mental fear, we're going to, number 2, ask yourself what you are really afraid of. What's the underlying fear? Because usually what we're imagining triggers an underlying fear. For example, if I'm afraid of the COVID-19 virus, I'm not really afraid of the virus. I'm afraid of dying, most probably. And these are basic fears of human beings. So when I'm terrified of a virus, I'm terrified of either pain, being sick, or dying. So we have to go to the underlying fear, because it's not really COVID-19, it's dying or being really ill or having respiratory issues or whatever you're really afraid of. Contact that fear. I know this sounds redundant, but don't be afraid of the fear. It's part of your biological system. Face the fear. Know what you're really afraid of. And then, step number 3 is to make a plan for that. So if I realize that what I'm afraid of is, for example, the pain of being ill for a long time, then I have to make a plan for that. Okay? So the worst case scenario, always go for the worst case scenario, because that's the one that really worries you. That's the one that's really going around in your head. So worst case scenario, I get the COVID-19 and I can't breathe. What do I do then? Then you have to have your plan. Make a plan. And in that plan, you're going to have what doctor I'm going to call, what hospital I'm going to go to, who I'm going to call to take me, or where's the number of the ambulance. If I have social security or medical insurance, have it on hand. Have everything you need in order to make that plan. But really do it physically. Have the numbers, have everything you need there by the door. For example, another one I use it for in Mexico, there's a lot of earthquakes, as in many places in the US too. But in Mexico, we get a lot of earthquakes, and I have a lot of people that are phobic with earthquakes. They're deathly afraid of them. So make a plan. What do you need in case of an earthquake? Well, you need to know what's the quickest way to get out. You need to go to a safe place. You need to know that safe place. You need to have things that you need. For example, shoes. Very easy to put on shoes by the door, so you can put them on and run out on the street. If you need your papers or money or a credit card or whatever you need to survive, have it there by the door and know the route of escape. That's your plan, and you need to have it, and you need to make it, and you need to walk it several times so that you know it in your mind, you know it in your body, and you have the plan for it. You know how long it takes you to get down the stairs, you know exactly how long you have from when you start feeling the earthquake or hear the seismic alarm until you are in the safe spot. And all this puts your mind at rest, because now you have a plan, and you can write down the plan, as you can do one of these, with your contingency plan. Call it a contingency plan. And really make it. Really put everything you need there. Not just think it, not just make the plan. Do the actions that the plan requires. And then we're going to visualize ourselves doing the plan. We're going to actually do it, if, for example, it was an earthquake, and we're going to go down the stairs, and then we're going to visualize doing this and harness the feeling of being safe. Okay? Because that's what our mind wants. Our mind wants us to be safe. Biological organisms want to survive. So that's what our mind wants, to feel safe. So as we visualize ourselves doing this, running from the earthquake, or having the correct doctor or the correct hospital, or even the breathing machine in our house, or whatever we come up as a plan, and we're doing this, we're going to harness the feeling of being safe. That this plan that I came up with actually works. And we can harness the feeling of being safe. Once you can get in contact with that safety feeling, expand it all over your body. Give your body that peacefulness of being safe. Okay? And you can even use the self-hypnosis exercise to anchor that feeling to something. It can be your written plan, it can be whatever you're going to take with you, your passport or your papers or your money or whatever you need. You can anchor that safety feeling there. And every time you see those papers by the door or your shoes by the door, you can go back to that safety feeling. Once you do that, your mind will stop the labyrinth, because now it has a plan. It doesn't need to be thinking about this anymore. We do that when we don't have a solution for the problem. So that's why the mind keeps going around in circles, trying to search for a solution. Once we give it a solution, then it can stop doing that, and then we can concentrate on other things. Okay, so that's your exercise for fear. It's a contingency plan. We will go through the steps again. Number 1, let yourself feel the fear. Don't be afraid of the fear. Ask yourself what you're really afraid of. the underlying fear, make a plan for that one, go to the worst case scenario you can imagine, and then visualize doing the plan and feeling safe doing it. And then expand the feeling of safety. And you can anchor it to something, whatever you want, in order to have that with you. Like Dumbo's feather. Have it with you all the time if you need an anchor for that safety feeling. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for fear. Thank you.